Alaikum, peace, IG.
Assalamualaikum, peace. It's Coach Fatimah.
It's Coach Nyla.
Assalamu alaikum, y'all. Peace. It's Coach Nazir. And welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good Monday, depending on where you are watching in the world. Monday in Australia.
See.
Yeah. So depending on where you are in the world, welcome. This is a live webinar. If you are here right now, if you're watching the replay, so be it. But we're going to discuss some world travels and everything. But before we really get started, I'm going to, kind of play a little intro. I'm going to ask you to share because we're going to go ahead and share some things we wanted to start about an hour ago. Didn't happen. Nevertheless, as they say, it's better late than never. So again, welcome. Let us know where you are chiming in from, what part of the world, and we would love to hear that and engage you today in a number of different questions. So we start this. If you are joining us from our Facebook or in YouTube, then you can put the questions right in the chat box and stuff as we get going.
And make sure you share if you have these different channels or anything like that. Share because sharing is caring. We got some good information for you guys.
Nazir has arrived. So, yes.
All right. So here's the deal. We're going to talk about kind of the why, the what, and the where, if you will, of our almost 2 years of different travel. So
I don't see my share. I'm trying to share and I don't see it.
go to the page. This is the group. And you can't share from the group. All right. With that being said, we are sharing and so on and so forth. With that being said, so here's the deal. Since we are really just getting back into the mix, into the United, what some people call snakes, some people being me, I usually call it United Snakes. It is what it is. But kind of, we want to share with you a little bit about the why, because we've done something that a lot of people, they want to travel kind of in general. But the fact of the matter is many people don't even have a passport, all right, especially from the United States and Black people in particular. So with that being said, the why, why travel? You know what I'm saying? What are some reasons you may feel you want to travel? What countries do you want to go to? What would you say? Matter of fact, again, if you haven't, let us know where you're chiming in from and where you're viewing us right now. Let us know. Let us shout you out. I want one of them to start with the whys because I'm going to go ahead and share from this phone to some different groups that I'm a part of. As I promised, I'm going to get on that.
I think one of the whys for me as a mother of many is letting my children know that there's more than just where they live. Of course, we spoke about this a little bit earlier, but letting them know there's a big old world out here and they need to see it so they don't get boxed in to where we're from or just the United States, period. There's some people that are in the state of Wisconsin that have not been to Chicago. They go, oh, I've never been. And I'm thinking, what? It's because it's very close to Milwaukee and close to, Illinois and Wisconsin. For those of you that might not know this, are neighbors. One is above the other. So, and it's not like us saying, well, I've never been to Canada. No, it's not the same because this is an hour and a half trip. And they haven't been that far outside of the city, which is relatively close. So letting little kids in our family, our children know that they can expand their horizons. And it's not just, the world does not operate in the way in which the United States operates. And that's specifically important for children of a young age because it can be very polarizing to be in a state, in a country that is very racist. And our city is the city that we came up in is very segregated, noticeably by people that travel to it. We know because we grew up there, but the people that have traveled from, let's say, California, they go, it's so segregated in this city. I didn't realize how powerful it was until I came here. I was like, and this one sister told me, she cried. She was like, I can't handle how segregated it is here. And we know the magnitude of and what that does to young children. So to expand their horizons is very, very important. And then they might grow up and say, look, I don't want to be here because I've been this place when I was 5, when I was 10, when I was 12, when I was 16, when I was 20. They know there's more to it than what they just see. And then the other side of the world is really not thinking about the United States, in which some of the people think they're so just eager to just get here. We were met with some people that said, oh, no, I would never go there. Not interested. Or they go here, come for a split second, see some mountains and go. See some relatives and get out of here. And I said, why do they do that? Because they saw what we saw. That's why. So that's one of the major reasons. Letting our children know there's more to life than where they're at and where they've grown up, and they loved it. They loved it.
Indeed, loving it. So, Tania Zalina, alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, from Malaysia. What part are you in? Was in Kuala Lumpur back in 2018, and Singapore. Went to the Steel Masjid, which is incredible. The Pink Masjid, Blue one, went to a number of different ones. So Malaysia is incredibly beautiful and incredibly sticky and humid, but definitely good to see you on here. What's that, about 10, 12 hours difference? Aliyah, North Carolina representing. Hoping to travel to Egypt soon. We got some people out there as well as, well, there's no name to this Facebook user, but down in Dallas, Texas, and Fort Worth, representing DF Dub. All right, so what do you think? Coach Nyla, why are you saying?
Why?
Yeah, why travel? Why? You talking about the why, the what, and the where?
Yeah, to definitely, like what my co-wife said before, just experiencing what the world has to offer. We world school our children. We were homeschooling our children, but definitely showing that is more out there, and that things that you just see on TV or what is put out there is, it's not all what you see, so to speak, and just experiencing different cultures and just a lot of different things. So, but being able to expand their horizons, and not just theirs, but ours as well. Being able to show them that it's possible. Not only showing them that it's possible, but those who are connected to us, those who are around us. I stated earlier, of course, you guys who were on IG, if those who are on again, who decided to join us, we talked a little bit earlier, just briefly, about talking to relatives and family members and saying, get your passport, go travel, do these different things. If we can do it with, a family of 12, then definitely you can do it with a family of 1, 2 to 5, or whatever the case may be. And it's just making that decision and moving on that decision, taking action on that decision. And you see the different things. There are things that I've been so conditioned to in the United States that I had to unlearn when I was traveling, because it was not set up the same way. And I mean, in the positive part, it was really beautiful in the places that we visited, the way that things came together while we were traveling. And we were in Turkey, at the time of the devastating earthquakes that you guys may have heard about on TV. And to see a country come together as beautifully as they did during this time in different places, it was just heartwarming. And to not see that, then to come back and to see what Ohio is going through, and all these different things like that, with the different water and all the stuff, is heart-wrenching to see. So to expand our horizons, to allow our children to see that there is beauty in the world, and that they can help out, and they can be that change, and they can see the different things, and they're not stuck like trees. They're not rooted in the place that they were born, so they can move around and they can enjoy life, in different places and learn different things and learn from other people.
Indeed. Your name is not showing up. You can just say it or post it in there. We'll recognize you. When it comes to traveling, again, when I say people, a lot of people want to travel, and it's really a wish thing more than anything. You know, people wish to go here, wish to go there, or they practice some form of escapism, whether it's watching TV and movies and imagining and daydreaming, which is an okay place to start, but not to really finish. You know, you get a lot of the coulda, shoulda, wouldas. I think the only place I went to, matter of fact, I've never traveled on a plane. Yeah, never traveled on a plane with my parents anywhere. I went with my grandmother to Puerto Rico when I was 5, you know what I'm saying? Being, you know, that's where she was born and everything else. But other than that, nah, you know, we drove and stuff like that throughout the country, Mississippi and so on, family reunions and whatnot. But I wanted to see a whole lot more. You know, I wanted to be that adventurer, that explorer, really wanted to see that, because where I grew up, as I was a teenager and I'm coming into my youth as a young man, I was told, you know, you're going to be dead or locked up by the time you're 21. And if you're in Wisconsin, which, you know, a lot of times is known as Jim Crow North, when it comes to the laws, racism, a lot of stuff that goes on. Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people, a lot of my friends locked up. One of them is my cousin. He's been locked up since I was 19. The man, he's 47 right now. Been locked up over 27 years for 3 armed robberies. Yeah, 3 armed robberies, which used to be 10 years. And then the governor at the time flipped it from 10 to 20, truth in sentencing, the Bill Clinton era, the crime bill, then flipped it from 20 to 40. So actually, where I am right now, the state I'm in right now, you'll get more time for armed robbery than you will get for murder. All right. Knowing these different things and understanding that the systems that are in place are intended to keep you down. And I didn't really want a part of that coming up. The challenge is I didn't know anyone that really traveled throughout the world. I had an aunt that went to a couple different places and stuff like that. And that was cool. But I knew something had to change. So, I mean, right now, I think I've been to 13 or 14 countries. But I want my children, this next generation, since we talk a lot about generational curses and stopping things, whether it's dealing with poverty, whether it's dealing with family issues and so on, relationships, right? We talk the talk, but unless you actually are out there getting it done, trying to, whether that's you being the pioneer, then nothing is going to change. And one of my books I remember reading by John Maxwell said, look, if you want to change the things around you, then you have to change the things around you. You know, and if you can't change the people around you, then you need to change the people around you. So we wanted to be that example to be able to travel, go where you are, you know, be able to make money to be able to do it to begin with, because not everyone could do it. I don't believe not everyone could do it. Not because they don't have the ability to, but it's really because of limited thinking. So if you haven't figured out a way to make money where you're not stuck to that specific place like a tree, then you have to learn that. And if you're not learning that, then that's costing you the ability to have what's called freedom. And we value that very highly. So that's, you know, really the why more than anything, to not only get off the block, not only get out the city, get out the state, but get out the entire country, experience somewhere that doesn't even speak the language that you are. So you're forced to grow. So and then it's going to test you, because it's going to show whether or not, you know, you're restricting yourself or you're open to learning these new things. You're either going to grow, you're going to shine, or, you know what I'm saying, it might be a little more challenging. So we've learned a whole lot with that. And that's what we're going to be talking about quite a bit with the series that we're going through. So what about the what's?
I don't know how to bring the what's in, but one thing I did want to speak on was about the differences, or seeing the differences of what is it, like, I don't know if I want to say adulthood or anything like that, but like the men and the women and those things like that. My co-wife and I spoke earlier on a little private IG where we were talking about being able to sit and live in your femininity, you know, as a woman. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing to be able to do that. And we've heard a number of our clients and friends and people around us are like, my gosh, you know, I have to do this, I have to do that. Where it's like, you know, you're building so much masculine energy up because of your environment and what it looks like. And that was a different thing, like the learning or unlearning or learning different things. And like you were stating before, of stretching you and you're growing and you're seeing different things. And in Turkey, where we spent some time, in school they actually kind of, when they leave middle school, or so to speak, or whatever, secondary school, or whatever they call it, like primary, secondary. So it's different stuff that you have to learn. But then after that, so they're like teenagers, like 16, 15 years old, where they get to choose like a profession or choose a vocation, choose these different things. It's not keeping them stuck as children. It's like they learn how to be, what is it, members of society. That's the word I was looking for, contributing members to society. And to see our children pick up on those things, like they're very helpful. They're helpful anyway, but when you come back here, you see a lot of people who are expecting things to be given to them, expecting to act a certain way or be lazy, and it's okay because they're expecting stuff to just be given to them. But to go overseas or see different places where you see children working, helping their parents, you see businesses thriving with the children working alongside their parents in a growing business. It's just those beautiful things. So I don't know if that's even a what or anything, or why, but being able to see that and bring that back. And I remember telling my relatives, I said, maybe I need to go, maybe I need to travel, maybe that would be motivation for you to see something, or maybe you'll be able to go and visit me, or whatever the case may be. And that'll force you to grow a little bit and see outside of this small little box, that is keeping people stuck and that is hindering them to grow.
I think another thing that was really impactful for me personally was to see men present in the household, to see fathers, to see a lot of men. It's a lot of men over there because they're not incarcerated, and they're not in prison for decades. And to just see that these are dual parent households and they want to be together and raise their children. They have family day every Sunday in Turkey. Those men, they bring their families out. They'll have picnics on the lawn. We saw them. They'll have, there were these beautiful gazebos where we were living at, and they would have their food and their lunch and their children and their wives or whatever the case may be. And then we had a gathering as expats once a month where we'd come together and the men would bring their family, and there was the children, and all our children played with different children from different parts of the world. This was an extremely diverse group. So it was beautiful for our boys to see there's a lot of men in this community that are beneficial and contributing to their family, and they're in the house with their children. I don't even remember hearing of anyone that was divorced even. I didn't hear any divorce stories. I didn't hear like certain things in our circle. I didn't hear it. So for me, I was like, whoa, because typically they might lead with this story. And I was like, they're like, oh, how about dinner? And how about y'all come over? And, and giving things to the neighbors, and the neighbors giving you gifts. And it was just like, it was so much love in the community, and it like embraced us, and they asked us questions. And so to see that everywhere you looked, there was like the husbands pushing the strollers and everybody going out to eat. Even during Ramadan, they had iftar in the mall. So they closed the doors of the shops in the mall, and then everyone was eating iftar in the food court. And then after that, everybody went back shopping. So it was just really, really beautiful to see the power of what happens when you have that family like that. Just so
yeah,
nice
that's one of the main
kids.
things that's
nice.
focused that has been lost in the West. It's about families, about building families, and the gender roles are clear.
Very clear.
All right, gender roles are clear, how they should be, how they've always been in societies who care about building. Now, some of the challenges when it comes to schooling, for example, or even you're talking about masculinity, femininity, it's family life. So when we're in Kazakhstan, for example, everywhere you live, there's going to be extra playgrounds and all that kind of stuff, at least where we were at especially. But even the parks, even in Turkey, there are gazebos that are out there for people, everything, there are toys, there's game stuff. Every single mall has a level for the kids.
That's it.
They go in there, you have the jumpy stuff,
They
you
care
have the
about
game,
them.
all of this stuff, you have
Roller coaster.
the inside little carnival things
stuff,
and all of this stuff for the children. Every single mall. So instead of being a man, for example, being dragged around, your wife want to go shop, you can go take the kids, be up there, sit out, and do your thing. You know what I'm saying? Or go play with them, whatever it may be. It's so family oriented that it's alien to the West. It's like you go to the mall here, it's like, if you're under a certain age, you better get up out of here. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
It's not something that welcomes you, that keeps things there. So, it's a sad situation, but,
And the men sit together there.
it is what it is. Even with schooling, some of the challenges, here's schooling. Look, schooling, if you understand, if you have not already read or listened to the book, Weapons of Mass Instruction by John Taylor Gatto, get it ASAP. To really understand the schooling system. Most people have no idea about these degrees, or even that high school didn't exist 100 years ago, or that the West is based off the Prussian system. You may have heard a little bit about it if you're familiar with Robert Kiyosaki, but understanding what they wanted to do. They basically kill your creativity, force you to be compliant, complicit, a lot of stuff. Yeah, it extends your childhood years. So people look at, somebody's 15 or 16, they're like, oh, they're still a child. When the reality, I know when I was 14, I'm like, I'm a man. My father said, look, you're a man. And I didn't say it because he said it. I felt like that. I wanted to be a contributing member of society. You know what I'm saying? I want to get my work permit. I want to do a bunch of different things. But over here, your childhood is stretched out, unfortunately. Over there, it's not necessarily that way. But there is other types of indoctrination that goes on in the schooling where they do not allow, like in Turkey, they don't allow homeschooling. That's problematic.
Forbidden.
You know what I'm saying?
Forbidden.
Yeah. But the interesting thing is that, that whole homeschooling thing, that I was like, that was weird. But what I did like is that they really did encourage the creativity, and you've seen that they not only did they encourage the creativity in the children and these were little kids. Remember when we were at the mall, and the little boys were showing the things that they were doing. They were building like robots and different things, science or whatever. They were like young. The oldest maybe 10 years old.
And they were selling us on their stuff
with cardboard and wires and whatever. And they're like, look, we don't have to probably show you guys because we got some video too of that, because it was really cool. But we don't see that, and we don't see where here in the States where that is showcased, where this creativity is showcased. I was talking earlier when I was in school when I was a kid, I used to get those marks on my report card. I used to get where it said, she has a big imagination and very encouraging and just different stuff. But then now I don't see that stuff anymore. I don't see those things. We don't have the critical thinking that I used to have when I was younger. I don't have they don't have the critical thinking pages and things in school like they used to when in those schools that I went to when I was growing up. So, but over there, it was like, whoa, this reminds me of when, I was a kid, where they really pushed it. They pushed the science fairs. They pushed the, you create this and you do these things and, pretty much the sky's the limit type of thing. And then now it's like, okay, what are you going to do after kind of like middle school or whatever? Now you're 13, 14, 15 years old. What are you going to do with your life, type of thing. And so
they had like 5-year-olds catching the bus to go to school.
Yeah, that was really
they had these little, I call them Scooby-Doo van. They would catch it. Nobody bothered them. They helped them.
Mm-hmm.
So their independence starts when they're really, really young, and people don't understand. They don't get babied over there. Now, I saw some tantrums thrown,
right?
And I probably would have snatched somebody up, but that's me. But these 5-year-olds get some of them will let them holler.
The youth, remember that guy? They didn't get up for the elderly. There's also the culture of respect for the elders.
That was a team.
So when you're on the bus, or you're traveling or something like that, and an old guy gets on the bus, or old lady gets on the bus, then the youth get up like they're supposed to, like they used to do here and used to be trained here. Yeah. So they would get up, move. Girls would get up for the old man, like the grandfathers or whatever, and all of that. You know what I'm saying? You get up, you move out the way, you are, in your place now. Tell them the story of the dude the teen that didn't get up. This
boy had to be like 12, so this is them tweens. They can get a little funky too. Some of them. Well, he sat down. This tween sat down, and this elderly brother got on there. And typically, if you have gray hair, they'll give you the seat. That's to tell that you better get up. So the older brother got on. He wasn't like elderly, but he was older, and he had to be like 70. And that little boy didn't get up. He was like, pow, and went right upside his head. So my daughter was sitting next to me on the dormer, with a little minibus, and she looked. She said, "Ooh, he hit him," because I heard it. Okay, and it was a good one. And so I thought this was his grandchild. I said, "Well, he got hit there, you know." And she was like, "No, they weren't related because they got on the bus at different. He didn't know him. He just didn't get up, so he got hit. Because you know what it is. That boy knew he should have got up." And they go, "I'm gonna stand up at 70. You gonna sit at 12? No, ma'am. No, sir." Bam. And it was a lot of that. So they have an expectation. They have an expectation of maturity at a certain age overseas, and they ain't thinking about what you on in America. Oh, they're 5, or they're 6 that can't go to, because. And then with that being said, being over here, we know it's incredibly dangerous to let your child. Now, there's another part to that. Go out to the road. I would never think of letting my 10-year-old go to the store on the corner and got to walk past the smoke and do all that and fight for his life to go get milk or go whatever the case may be. Now, some people might have to do that, make that sacrifice. However, there's an expectation of, they might take my kid. We were talking about abducting children. They were like, "What do you mean? They take your kids in America?" I was like, "Oh yeah, they'll take your child. You can't let your 5-year-old get on the bus alone over there." And it's not a thing. It was almost like I was speaking a whole nother language. They were so traumatized by that.
Oh no, they don't play about the kids because
now, before you talk about that though, nobody was clutching their pearls.
No,
nobody was upset. Nobody was like, "You shouldn't have hit that boy."
They sure.
Nobody was like, "This is the safe space for everybody."
They probably was thinking you should have hit him.
Didn't happen.
right.
That's what they were thinking.
You took too long to hit
Fire
them.
quick.
But the other thing about the kids and the safety of the children, they have different activities that go on, where there are buses that will pick them up, whether it's school buses, whether it's activity buses, anything like that. But they actually have an app that you get, and they track, like they'll show you when your child was picked. It's like a GPS. When your child was picked up, where they were picked up from, when they left the school or when they left the event.
1,000 meters from the house.
1,000 meters from the house. You get a phone call. It's like an amazing thing. It's like, wow, okay. They not only do they pick your kid up and drop them off, they're letting you know that they were picked up. They're on the bus. Or they didn't get on the bus. And they're like, okay, your child didn't get on the bus. Oh, wait a minute. Hold on. Why is my child on the bus? So it's those type of things that when it comes to family and caring about the kids and caring about the family, wow, it's on a, it shouldn't be that way where it's like, wow, it's on another level or something like that, because that should be normal. That should be natural. We should care about family. We should care about, the legacy and the growth and the togetherness, of family. However, it's so lost in the States, and being a person, and being people who were born and raised here, we can actually speak on it, that this is what it is. And we've traveled in other places in this country too, not just, this was just where we, our little box of, this is where we grew up in, and this is what we know. No, we know from all pieces of the country that, it's, same day, different, or, same story, different day. So
they're so trusting with each other with family, and it's so close knit that when they would get on the bus to pay, let's say it's a sister that she's got a little one, she'll let you hold her baby while she pays to get on the bus. Because I would have no reason to think that you would harm my child, because we're so close and we take care of each other here. So they wouldn't even think of, you might hit him or drop him or whatever. They know, and they have every confidence that I'm going to take care of your baby like I take care of my baby or my little girl or whatever. They'll get on the bus. The children get on. The mother will pass you, their 4-year-old. You hold their hand, mother pays for them, and they come get their baby and go sit down. It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. Alhamdulillah.
Indeed, a culture shock, no doubt.
Yeah.
So, represent Atlanta, GA, of course, in the house. Is Elena Yvonne or Elena? What you think that is? ALENA. Elena. We got your name. And Yvonne, we got that, no doubt. Rahim Ali, we appreciate you. Allahumma ameen for the dua. And of course, South Africa, the meaning of life, be peaceful. definitely shouts us out. We appreciate you. Walaikum salam. What else? Love to catch. Zakaria Ali asks a question. She says, how do you manage helping your young adult children continue education while traveling for extended periods? All right, here's the deal. I think Mark Twain said it best. He said, never let schooling interfere with your education. All right. Many times we're brought up and taught in the West. Not many times we are. It's drilled into you. Go to school, get good grades, get a good job. All right. We confuse schooling with education. The entire trip there and back and to go again or whatnot is educational. All of it. So the question comes to, what is your definition of education? What do you understand it to be? So when I mentioned the book, Weapons of Mass Instruction, it really helps you understand what it's about, what the schooling system is really about, not just from the Prussian system, but all the way back to the Rockefellers and the Carnegies, the Gender Education Board, and why it stretched out. I mean, high school didn't exist because after 8th grade, you entered in the workforce. All right, you already contributing, right? But due to the Depression, you had these boys that are competing with these men. They had to do something for these boys and create a lot of filler, which eventually became high school. That doesn't mean we're necessarily anti-schooling. If you're about to be a doctor, something with very surgeon or whatnot, something that requires specialized schooling, then it's very important to get that done. However, there's a big difference between schooling and education. So what we did with our young adult children is we educated and work with them directly on understanding the world that they live in. Mm-hmm. So when it came to gaining certain skills in business, when it came to understanding what's really going on with artificial intelligence or going into universal basic income that they're talking about, skills, whether that be video editing, videography, whether that is dealing with creating your own digital products and empowerment and so on, to get an income that is not limited or restricted to any type of country geographically, where you have to work a job. So we're teaching them how to be financially independent, because with that being said, most people go to school to think they're going to get a degree, to end up working a degree to make money. Why not shortcut all that instead of getting the guaranteed debt and the less than 30% chance of you working in the field that you have your degree in anyway and being a debt slave, to go ahead and jump all around that and learn how to go ahead and get some halal money, you actually be in control of things and having freedom. So we were focusing on teaching our children that, our young adult children, when it comes to education. Okay, because there are two things that will impact you more than anything else in your life. That's your spiritual life. For us, that's Islam. Yeah, your Islam, and then of course money. That impacts every facet of your life, one way or the other. So learning and getting those two down, of course, the deen first, and then anything else behind it, is where we focus on our young adults, because now the next step in their life is to get married and start their families and continue life, and prayerfully implement some of the things that we've taught them with the things that we broke. We talk about generational curses. So, for example, one of our daughters is married. She finally met with her husband. COVID messed some stuff up, so they couldn't get together. So now she's married and stuff like that, and living with her husband now in an entirely different country than we were even in to begin with. So she's in her 4th country or something like that from travels. You know what I mean? So now she's starting the next generation. So that's indeed an incredible blessing. So perfectly, to answer your question. Anything else you want to add with our young adult kids that I could?
Well, and not just financial, of course, definitely spiritual first, and financial education, but personal, that personal growth as well, and learning what that looks like of being that contributing member to society, your household, your life, those things like that, femininity for our daughters, and those different things like that, what it looks like to be a wife. I actually saw something, I think it's supposed to be like a live, or maybe it happened already, but it was talking about how this woman, or a sister, talks about how single mothers can't teach women or teach their daughters how to be wives. So it was like really interesting. But it's a number of those different things too, because it's like he said, as far as schooling and education, education, we teach our children that you should always be learning. There's no breaks from that. So we don't believe in the summer vacation break type of thing, because even when you're on holiday or whatever, you still should be learning. So we don't, you're learning all the time. If you're learning all the time, then you're not restricted to a brick and mortar school. You can learn anywhere.
I think something else that I know I do this with, because the lion's share of the adult children is, I had them physically, but we all are helping with them and guiding them. But one of the major things, especially with having 4 daughters first in a row like that, is letting them know what they need to work on, and being able to identify what that means for them individually. So what my oldest daughter might want to work on for herself might not look like what my 20-year-old daughter needs to work on for herself. They're in different phases and stages of life. So letting them know, we all kind of let them know that they're individuals. And these are just like the three of us, we have our own stuff we need to work on as individuals. And it might not look like the other person's. It likely won't look like the other person's, or it might have a different intensity than someone else. So the responsibilities I have don't look like the responsibilities that Coach Nazir has, or that Coach Nyla has, especially him, because I'm not a husband or a sponsor. And I know that about myself, and I never will be. So, but I know he has responsibilities, but they don't look like mine. So that's one thing we do, especially with personal growth, is let our children know. Like my 28-year-old daughter, I have a different conversation with her than I do my 20-year-old daughter. They're both important conversations, but they're different. So knowing that, we all know that, especially with personal development, we know that everybody's in different stages, ages, and you can't talk to every child the same way, So yes, letting them know they need to work on themselves and whatever areas those are, and helping them and guiding them. Because the raising for a 28-year-old, that's it. No, I left that a long time ago, but guidance as a wife and a mother and different things to do that work for me, but not ignoring the fact that she's created some of her own things to do as a wife and a mother. It's really important.
Indeed. So what about racism? That's always a topic of concern. Of course, coming back to the United States, you have to deal with this adrenal drip, always having to be on alert.
I had
For
an
me,
incident. I had an incident really quickly I kind of learned at how clueless some people are, because I went to the doctor and this lady was like, where are you from? I'm hearing myself speak English.
What's the doctor here?
What's the doctor here in America, in the States, for clarification. And I said, I'm from Milwaukee. So you're not from India? No, I'm not. But you're Muslim? Yeah, I am. But you're not Indian? No, I'm black. So she was confused for about a good 2 minutes, and that's a long time to be confused when you talk to the source. And I said, she was white. I said, she was completely clueless. And I said, see, this is part of the issue. We're talking about education. See, she let that schooling get in the way of her education. I said, that woman don't know what the world map looked like, where things are. And she really was limited in that way. And I had to keep repeating her, yes, you can be black and Muslim. Howdy do. And she just was completely clueless. So it wasn't like necessarily a racist moment, but I saw how clueless she was and how educated I was about the world. Now, that's not to say all white people are going, what's black and what's Muslim and what's India and where is it? No, I'm not saying that. But a lot of people have traveled outside of this country to get the real on what's going on in this world. So then I would encourage people, if you can get a passport, get one and go see this world if you have the means to do so. If not, get around people that have seen it. That's one thing I did as someone that didn't go outside of the country. As soon as, Coach Nazir and some of my friends, they were overseas long before I was. I listened to their stories about what it was like. So I had an expectation, but then I also got some updates as I went out in different years than which they did in the 90s, maybe. Coach Nazir was out of the country in the 90s, I believe. Was it the 90s? So for me, I was like, whoa, he went out of the country. I'm scared for him, But to sit and hear that Hajj experience from different Muslims at that time was really, really precious. And I'm like, I got to go over there. I got to get out of here.
So how about racism overseas, different places that we've been?
I mentioned different things. That's even the thing as far as educating your children that it exists. Sometimes people say, oh, well, you want to shield, or you want to, shield these things from your children. just you want to be able to educate them that they exist, because people are going to be people, and even kids can pick it up from their parents, and things can, that can exist. And sometimes it's people they just don't know, that the people don't know. Case in point, we've had some instances at the beginning of our travels where our boys had to let some people, they had to kind of check some people, because they were different. Our boys were different. They're the Americans that are in a different country, and pretty much this is our country, and we kind of, it's you're trespassing type of thing, and we had to discuss different things with parents and stuff like that. But you do have people that they can't understand. If they can't understand what you're saying because you're speaking English and they know Turkish, they're looking at you away, or they want you to be quiet because they can't dip in your conversation. You may have to let them know that this is not for you anyway, type of thing like that. But it exists. The thing is that people are going to be people. If they're racist, they're racist. Some people, they just don't know, and you may have to educate them. But once again, I'm going to go into the confidence and being able to be confident in what you stand for, and be confident in yourself and your communication, to be able to let them know that, look, that's a you thing. That's a you problem, not a me problem. I'm going to be me. I'm going to be Black. I'm going to be from here. I'm going to be this person. But whatever your thoughts about me are, that's on you. I remember being in a business where they said, what you think about me is none of my business, because I can't change what you think about me. I can still be me. It's up to you to change that. Now, I may be able to guide you in a way, but it's still up to you. I may be able to teach you some things, but it's still up to you. But allowing your children to know that it exists and how they should handle themselves in those situations is important.
They were on our scarves a lot. I noticed our kimars. And they were like, oh, it's not the Turkish way. One told me. I said, it's the Fatimah way, though. It's definitely the Fatimah way. So the way we wear our scarves, they were like, well, we know you're not from here. Are you Syrian? Are you, And we found that a lot of some of the Turkish people did not like Syrians very much, and they got treated poorly. And I said, oh, okay, this is what we're doing. What we're not going to do. I said, we're not Syrian, but if we were, then what would you do? Oh, I just, it's this, oh, I was just asking kind of thing. But they do have their own stuff over there too. But again, like Coach Nyla was saying, it's that confidence part. I didn't lack the confidence part, but some people assume that you do lack it. I noticed. Like they'll assume, oh, they're not going to speak up for themselves. We're just going to talk reckless or whatever the case may be. And we had to get a couple people together over there, but it was not often, but we did. So.
And it also comes to, really how you define what racism is. It's not racism, kind of what we're discussing. We're really talking more a little bit about nationalism, or asabiya, as it's known in Arabic. So the flip side that they didn't tell you about was the amount of people that want to take pictures of them and with them and are fangirling all over them. They didn't tell you that. You know what I'm saying? For me, I'm considered racially ambiguous. So I'm over there, whether if I'm in Turkey, they talking to me in Turkish immediately. You know what I'm saying? So I get that. Remember the modem and so on, right? They talking to me, right? I could be on a certain side of town, and then now you look at Spanish, or maybe it's Moroccan, or it's Egyptian. Yep. You know what I'm saying? So it could be a number of different things. I know I'm light skinned. It is what it is. I'm Black and Puerto Rican, got the European stuff and the whole yard stuff going on, right? So with that being said, I understand it. It ain't about me. And then, I'm light skinned, whatever, right? My wives aren't. But you also at the same time can't necessarily tell what they are depending on where you are in a part of the world. So they're like, oh, you're African, or are you Pakistani, or are you this or that, right? But doesn't matter. All I know is I had to wait, take different photos, take selfies for the people. That's when I'm with them. You know what I'm saying? We may be going just trying to enjoy ourselves in the garden, having a little family thing out. Next, it's about 18 women all around my wives. They taking pictures. They talking about, call me. Are your kids married? They talking. They can't even speak the language, but they like, we need to hook. Oh man, hilarious. So yeah, there's a lot of love for it too. You know what I'm saying? That needs to be understood. But there are also movements. Let me let you know what I mean. Like in the States, we got this white nationalist movement, right? White supremacists, whatnot. They racist as hell because racism specifically is dealing with creating and developing systems that systemically and institutionally oppress others based upon their backgrounds, ethnicity, race, and so on and so forth. So over there, they don't have that. It's generally for everybody. Okay, but you have the nationalist movements like, Turkey is for Turks, so kick the Syrians out, the Afghanis out, kick all these, migrants out because they have more refugees in Turkey than anywhere else in the world. They've had a long history that has been welcoming to people from all over the place. But, now they're like, look, due to a whole number of different factors with the economy and stuff, not being the best right now with the Turkish lira. So there's a whole bunch of different things going on. But the easiest thing to do is to go ahead and hit that low area, that basic, it's because of this person or these people are doing this. You know what I'm saying? So whether the Syrians or others, that's where it comes up so far as national. Now, the other part is Turks can look like me, look dark as them. They have really, Asian eyes, and they're also Afro Turks. You know what I'm saying? So along the spectrum, it's not just like you're just this one color or one look, if you will. It's all the way across the spectrum. And there's love across all of that. But of course, you do have your outliers. You do have those who are what they are. So the good part is it ain't like it is here. I don't care if you talk from getting off the airplane in the airport to getting behind the wheel or what have you. No, when I'm talking about always having to be on alert, having that adrenal drip is nonstop. From when we leave here and pack up today and get in the vehicle, there's a very real possibility of coming into contact with some people that could end your life and fully get away with it here. Over there, people may get upset. Yes, they have guns and stuff like that. You're not hearing of no murders and all that type of stuff. No. Does it happen? Yeah, it does. It's extremely rare. It's not like this, panacea where you hit this place and everything's just all great and glorious and people don't steal and they don't lie and all that. No, they do. You know what I'm saying? I had somebody stole one of my phones from me, from my house. So it was crazy. But it is what it is. Everybody's going to, be accountable regardless. But so when it comes to racism in particular, you go from being on a 10 in America to like about a 1.5 or 2. And then, or you could just become celebrities like these two. It's like, they literally celebrities.
I had to get a test done. Speaking of what Coach Nyla was saying, it was there's primarily male doctors over there. So surgeons and cardiologists and things typically are male. And I had to get a test done. And the brother could tell. I was like, you kind of close. And he looked at me, he said, sister, relax, I'm your brother. And he covered everything. He had his nurse in there with him, and he covered me more than I've been covered over here. And when he said that, it gave me a sense of security because I knew he was going to deal in what he needed to deal in and nothing more with me. So there was a boundary he created by saying, you don't have to worry about me. I'm your brother. He spoke enough English to say, don't worry, you can relax. I'm your brother. We're going to do this test and we're going to go head on. And it was so, so nice because over here, I would not have had that same sense of security because a doctor's not going to say to me, I'm your brother. It's all right. You got to look to see if the doctor's trying to kill you. You just do. When we're Black women and we tend to get ignored when we go to a doctor. And I had to tell them before, you work for me. I don't come here to work for you. So if I want a test done, are you not supposed to? Ain't that in your job description? Ain't that at your pay grade to do what people tell you to do? So, but there's this reverse thinking, and that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, it felt good to feel that.
Yeah. Especially when you're dealing with doctors, whether they taking blood or whatever, then it's the Bismillah ar-Rahim,
Yes.
And all of that. And they praying as a prayer area where you are and stuff like that.
Everywhere.
Having that understanding of culture is great. And Aliyah, yes, you said the live went out for you. Yeah, we took about 5 to 6 minutes to answer your question, so you're gonna have to catch the replay on that. But we did address it. So alhamdulillah. Anything you want to say? Good. All right, what questions do you have? Because we're gonna wrap this up shortly and plug back in when we talk about cost of living, when we're talking about different schooling, when we're sharing about what places we would suggest and some of the ugly stuff, some of the good stuff, and so on.
And food and stuff.
Oh yeah, food. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. Oh, another level. So as we plug back into that, what questions do you have for us today before we wrap up in these last 10 minutes. I'm going to go see if there are any other questions that may have come through. But if you got some questions, especially even if you're on IG, let us know and we would try to see what's up.
Yeah, IG children. Check and see what I think. That's children right now.
It's just so good to to see the kids so comfortable too. Like our children speak American. I'm gonna tell you guys. I found out the difference. It's a difference between English and American. So we've encountered or made some friends traveling abroad and everything like that, and a number of sisters that I've encountered and I became friends with are from England, from the UK, and I say it's called, there is English. The England is whatever. I was like, we speak American. We can say English all we want to, but one of my friends, she said, you know what, this is going to be great. I'm going to teach you UK English and you could teach me American English, because I learned so many things that I'm like, okay, what is that? And I asked her, the first thing I asked her for that was totally different was I asked her if she had any bins or she knew a place that sold bins. She thought I was talking about trash cans or trash bins. She said that's what they call them. They call them rubbish bins. I was talking rubbish. I said rubbish, right? Rubbish bins. And I was like, no, like containers that you store stuff in. So yeah, that was totally different. They call them containers or they call them something else or whatever, but they don't call them bins like we do. So I had to learn all
the lorries.
Whatever. Lorry is a truck, like a U-Haul truck, or a pickup truck or something on the lines of that. So just different things. So to be able to learn these different things, and I was like, that's just English. But for these kids of ours to be so to have this confidence to talk to people and to learn, to just go in and be friendly and be friends with people that they don't even know. They don't know the language. Like they're teaching the kids English and the kids are teaching them Turkish. And my 7-year-old, he has like one of his best friends. He speaks Turkish. Like you guys, it's like, yeah, my best friend. And so, the teachers are amazing, and I'll say teachers because, when they're in different events, they're still teachers, I guess. But she's still, even us being here right now, she'll still send pictures of like his classmates and different things like that, and what's going on, and connecting with and asking about, the kids and the family and everything like that. I'm like, we're not even there anymore. And you still have people that's checking up on us and asking about us and, just all that beautiful stuff and making dua. We love you and da da da. It's just a beautiful, beautiful thing to experience. So, yeah.
All right, Aliyah asks another question. She says, how do you decide to travel versus stay? All right. There are a number of different things that go into that. One, it depends on the country, all right, and the culture and what you're looking for. So if you're looking for somewhere to just chill, relax, kind of vacation-like, the whole time, you have to consider a number of different factors, whether that's dealing with residency, what their visa issues are. Do you get a 1-year visa, 5-year, 90 days? Do you need a visa to enter the country? So you have to look at what your goals are. For us, we wanted to experience a number of different cultures and open up our children's minds. Mm-hmm. And we know that, one of the countries we looked at was Kazakhstan, really looking at some business things and some information with some people that I was working with. However, the information I received was not as accurate as I expected it to be. And unfortunately, I went against my first mind and allowed somebody else to investigate who has not been known to be the best and most thorough with his investigations. So that ended up costing us tens of thousands of dollars to go there and leave within about, a few months.
So definitely do your due diligence.
Yeah, do your due diligence. Don't go against your first mind. And that place also, it has the largest masjid in Asia, period. Largest, it's beautiful. But the culture of the people, since they were dominated for so long and lost half their population through war, talking about Kazakhstan, the ninth largest landmass country in the world, is really, you have to know their history. All right. Great people kind of in general, but, you will be absolutely right up in stores that have lines full of or aisles full of alcohol, vodka, and all the rest of that stuff under Russian influence. Now, the Russian language is much easier than Turkish language. You know, it's a Slavic language like the cousin to English. But, you know, the language is one thing, but we didn't go for the language, we came for the culture. And it's a different thing when you go on, you're walking with your family to Fajr, and you can see different workers of the night, let's call them that, out there in that country. So, yeah, it's one thing to just have a history, culture be Muslim. Then, of course, you know, Turkey's been open for a long time, the different masajid. And I've been there once, very briefly, back in like 2001, 2002, in Istanbul. But it's always, you know, it's been welcoming, you know what I'm saying, that they have many, many different beautiful masajid and everything there, and have a very rich culture. So, and the, you know, just so much beauty. So we decided to go there. The cost of living was much better. You know, visa situation. So it depends on, again, what your goals are. Like, even when we talk about school, we only have one of our children in school just due to the way their system and stuff is, which is fine with us. But to get that experience with the school system, you know, it's priceless, and have them, you know, kind of understand it and be part of it. It's cool, but it really depends on what you want to do. And, you know, we have some bigger, more lofty goals than just, oh, we'll go and come back and so on. But it depends on, again, what your goals are and what you want to experience. And if you go with your family, if it's just you as an adult, I've been to a number, I would have been to plenty different places. But, you know, we're raising our children, and we want to help them develop more culture, expand, you know, the creativity, to really understand, or at least get a taste of what we're doing. Because they have no clue. It's just, okay, they're traveling with their parents all over the world. They don't know that people don't do this. You know what I'm saying? I never did it. You know what I'm saying? They have they extra privileged when it comes to that. So they're not really understanding until maybe they'll talk with some friends or some other people and so on. They're like, really, y'all? And then they'll understand sometime later. So prayerfully sooner than later, they'll really understand the benefits of it. Our older children are maturing and really getting it. But so we're choosing places that are family friendly. So we weren't in Istanbul. We don't want to be in Istanbul. Istanbul is beautiful. All right, a lot of stuff going on in Istanbul. There's a strong desire to be very European. There are a lot of different foreigners, you know, stuff like that going on. We didn't want that. We went to the place that a lot of people were like, well, that's really religious over there. Those people are good people, but, you know, if you want to, yeah, it's very conservative. I'm like, cool, I'm with the conservativeness. You know what I'm saying? We want something that's family friendly. So when we're speaking about it, also, we're kind of speaking about it from a different lens, because we did choose somewhere that is more family friendly, that is practicing, you know, the religion, Islam more and so on. So again, depending on what your goals are. But one of the most important things is to make sure you're able to fund it. You know what I'm saying? You're able to do your thing and have different things set up so that you're not having to go back and forth to different countries. I had some friends of mine that had to leave like every 2-3 months and be gone for a month or two because they had to work and get things together with their local business. And it's not easy just traveling back and forth like that. And sometimes countries just get suspicious of you. Customs will be like, what you doing? You know, you going back and what's happening? Or you might be prohibited from coming in the country, and then you stuck and your family's there. You know, there were some of those type of situations. So that's important. That's also another reason we are encouraging you to plug in and make sure you're logged in, not logged in, but you are on our list that's going across the bottom of the screen at outstandingpersonrelationships.com/adventure, because we're going to be sharing more details and videos and pictures and all that kind of stuff as we're getting things more organized to share with you regarding that. So prayerfully that helped you, dear sister. Merle says from OKC, not a question, but a comment. Thank you all for your grace and consistency. I'll keep tuning in to learn more. We appreciate you and we appreciate the kind words. Make sure you're sharing and let us know what else we can do, what else you want to hear or whatnot. We can share from there. And of course, we have our educational campus at polygamyeducation.com. That is not for public consumption. All right, so we got, what time is it? All right, so we late. We're going to go ahead and wrap up. Unless there are any other pressing questions. Anything y'all want to say regarding the travels and plugging in?
Don't be afraid to travel.
Yeah, don't be afraid. Do your due diligence and, you know, take that step and do it. You know? So, yeah.
Indeed. These next coming weeks, we have a few things planned and that are very special. If you didn't plan or plug into Coach Nyla yesterday when she was dealing with jealousy in particular, right? And what is it? Jealousy free? outstandingpersonrelationships.com/jealousy free. She has a challenge that'll be coming up soon. And you can stay plugged in about it. And I'll put that there in 1 second. But let me go ahead. Be back after this message.
Polygamy.
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 Polygamy?
Polygamy.
Polygamy?
When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. Hello, wives.
Hello, husband.
Isn't it frustrating to see all these relationship and marriage experts not mention polygamy as though it's not an ancient solution to a modern day problem right now? Or how about those that talk against it, yet we don't know their relationship status, or they're involved in all kinds of scandals because they're scandalous?
And another thing that's so frustrating is when they're here today, gone tomorrow, and they don't offer you any tips or best practices for best results.
Or what about the religious leaders? And yes, I am calling them out, the religious leaders who don't talk about polygyny or are afraid to talk about polygyny like it's some taboo type of topic or something. And that's why we created our education campus at oprcampus.com.
Absolutely. We know that we need to make sure we have an area where we can get continuing education on all levels of relationships. So it doesn't matter if you're talking about premarital because you're single, or if you're a monogamy, you really want to build a life of fulfillment and craft it, or you choose to practice polygyny, but you need to actually have a good example so you can do it in a healthy manner.
And what's so awesome about our campus is that we have meet and greets.
And in these meet and greets, you can meet with your fellow students. You can meet with your coaches. We talk about different things with your classes. Yes, we have online live classes and challenges. So when you check that leaderboard, yes, there's a leaderboard in the campus as well. It can give you some fun, friendly competition amongst your students, amongst your peers, I guess I should say.
So with that, we want you to go ahead and make sure you have all the details. So go to oprcampus.com or click the button below to make sure you're fully plugged in, especially if you want to make 2023 your best year yet.
So click that button.
And we'll see you in the campus.
Hey guys, Assalamualaikum, we're back. But I was just talking to our IG team, our IG family, a little bit about the challenge that I have coming up. Jealousy Free is Break Free from Jealousy and Polygyny Challenge. So I'm super excited about that because we get a lot of women, a lot of wives that are struggling with jealousy and polygyny. It doesn't matter what your timeline is, or whether you're first wife, second wife, third wife, fourth wife, it really doesn't matter. We all have our jealousies, and to have this bicker about who jealousy is bigger than what and who has a right to be jealous, that's not even the case. It's not here or there. It doesn't really matter. Jealousy is there. So when it comes down to it, those things are breaking up our marriages. There are problems that is causing within our marriages, our individual marriages. So I'm going to dive deep into this challenge. We're going to learn about the different things. We're going to learn about the 4 Ds to the jealousy detox. I did a video. Those who were not on the live, it's still on YouTube, so you guys can watch the replay. But it's the jealousy.
Register outstandingpersonrelationships.com/jealousy free.
Yes, register. Yes, because it does tell it in there, but there it is right there across the screen. Thank you. Yeah, jealousy free. outstandingpersonrelationships.com/jealousy free to register for the challenge. I have the general access and the VIP access, and that information is right there on the site. So make sure you register because it's a lot of great information and it's interactive as well. So
super dopeness.
Yes.
All right, Coach Fatimah runs the bathroom real quick, so we're gonna wrap this up. With that being said, on the 18th, when I come back, I'm actually doing one of the things, dude, I said like four statements that didn't even finish a full sentence. Yeah, it's time to wrap it up. Okay, so one of the big things that we hear when it comes to traveling, people have challenges with is getting money. I mean, that's just normal life, unfortunately, but that's one of the biggest challenges we have. All right, and having money just means more freedom and there are more options. So I'll be traveling and working with a client But when I come back from working with him, helping him set up shop, really to get his digital business and really at a high level, I'm also going to be doing a challenge when it comes to that as well. So we're going to be sharing what we're doing, you know what I'm saying, you know, financially when it comes to being able to travel the world. You know what I'm saying? What passive income streams do you have? How are you able to monetize these different things? You know, what are your children already involved in? What are they doing as well? Because, you know, it's a matter of choice. We should have choice. And wherever we are right now in our life is the accumulation of the choices that we've made. So if you're not satisfied where you are financially, or if you're doing well, but you want to do better, you want to go from being better to great to being great, from being outstanding, then we have to do some things differently, and it starts with our thinking. So I'll be sharing with you some of our thinking, what we've been doing in particular, and why I made specific choices years ago and nurture them now that allow us to be able to travel and choose where we want to go and what we want to achieve and accomplish. So with that being said, make sure you are on that list, that /adventure list, so that you get notified right away. So since there are no other questions and it's that time to roll. Oh, she can't get back in, of course. Let Coach Fatimah back in. I forgot that. She needs to get back inside. We're in a breakout area from my office. All right, so with that being said, I am Coach Nazir. My wives have left me. We're going to wrap it up. All right, we're going to wrap it up with some GLC.
Make sure you are growing intentionally.
Well, I'm standing up. Loving fearlessly.
And connecting on a high level every single day. Assalamu alaikum. Peace.
Peace.